that you have to transfer between champions.
I think it's interesting.
In mid lane than there is.
I think it's interesting we're trying to ban marksman out. That I don't even feel.
I don't
like
think
Upset,
you can.
I don't even feel like Upset is like the guy to target. I think there's so many high-level carries on Schalke that by just trying to target Upset, you just then shift the load onto Cadril, or you shift the load onto Memento, all of who have performed incredibly well. But PSG are going to stick to the same strategy this time round. Zach and Caitlyn, though, because obviously Schalke are red side, means that... What are you laughing at?
You trying to take a drink of water while we're on camera?
I forgot about that. That's why I'm not actually...
just going to wait for a couple of minutes?
I was just going to wait until we're in game now.
So it's a good idea.
Permanently hold my
water.
water.
Now it just looks like you're looking down at a mobile phone that you're like frantically typing on. Let's just put that over there.
Still have the label on.
Zach, Caitlyn and Elise bans getting taken away from Schalke, and it's the same bans as we said from PSG. They'll first pick the Gragas. Flex all over the place.
So the Thresh is up if Schalke do want that for Niskaran. Not something that I think we've seen much of him play, but it is open if they would like to try and take that off the field. Also get their choice of AD carry for Upset. You know, the bans have been going against Upset. Schalke might take this opportunity to pick up something for him that he feels comfortable on.
Thresh Ashe makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Thresh Ashe is pretty good.
Thresh Ashe is solid, or you can just try and take a carry, not give anything away from the bottom lane. Try and give yourself, for example, carries in a carry jungler is what I meant to say, but never mind. Give yourself the jungler so you don't give anything away in the bottom lane. And Rek'Sai, very dominant champion.
Haven't seen it at all this week thus far. This is the first Rek'Sai we have actually seen being played. Was banned out earlier on. PSG probably going to look towards their support and AD carry this rotation.
You imagine so. That's the generic strategy that you see in the first 3 picks. The question is what AD carry. I would be tilting towards Ashe here because she is fairly safe.
You'd be joining a lot of PSG fans if you were tilting at the moment.
Yeah. There is also the option to pick up the Kalista if you want to deny the Kalista Thresh combo and go for the Kalista Braum combo, which is very strong. All depends what you want to achieve. Yeah, I think this is safer.
Yep, gives you good pick potential. Ashe, Braum, the Freyjord lane, as it is otherwise known, and then Kalista Thresh, it could be picked up here for Schalke. They've already shown that they're pretty dominant in that bottom lane. Kalista Thresh would just help them try and enhance that, but instead going to go for the Jhin.
Okay, so instead of going for the sort of lane-dominant Kalista, they're going for the teamfight-orientated Jhin. We've seen the success of Jhin in the past, just competitively, and obviously a very strong champion, and can provide a lot for his team as well, which is the big difference between Kalista and Jhin, is that Jhin can set up a team. Not only does he have a long-range route, but also his ult can lead straight into team fights. So a strong pick-up there for Schalke, especially considering how they played the last game, being very decisive with Upset on those Ashe ults, similar with Jhin.
And Jhin can do similar things to Ashe. Jhin sets up sieges so well, he still does that same role where you can open up the ultimate on a tower and start a siege process with it, the same way we saw Dan on Maokai use the Nature's Graph to do the same thing. Bans starting to come out, Syndra ban now for PSG, and obviously the Rumble ban coming through for Schalke.
Yeah, not really too surprised by the Syndra ban. Don't want to give that up to Schalke. It's a very safe mid laner. Orianna there as well against Cadril, the sort of mid lane bans that we have tended to see. However, he's shown his adept at the Corki. Blanc comfortable on that as well. There's so many options still open in mid. You're just getting rid of things that you really don't want to play against rather than anything you think is overpowered. Yeah,
I don't think you can limit huge amounts here.
Well, this Cassiopeia ban from Schalke is very smart because Cass is typically picked into Corki, and now it gives the question to PSG, do you ban Corki or Orianna, both of which are very difficult to play against? I mean, LeBlanc is also difficult to play against, but now Schalke can blind pick one of their mids, or alternatively...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was going to say alternatively, they could get one or the other anyway, right?
Yeah,
they're
going to get one or the other anyway. But I mean, Cadril has performed so well on Corki and so well on Orianna, but a very, very quick lock-in for PSG here. Something that you were chatting about earlier, Frozen. You said, you know, Tilia, when we were thinking about the Heimerdinger pick, Tilia into Orianna is, you know, you can clear waves against Orianna, functions the same way that we saw the Heimerdinger work, and you thought Tilia just would have been better. Looks like PSG know exactly what's up. Not going to lock in Heimerdinger, thankfully.
I mean, you never know. They're still picking top lane, right? And typically Heimerdinger's a top laner.
No.
It could still happen.
No one's going to lock Heimerdinger. We have the Jace as well for Paris Saint-Germain. It's going to go up towards
J4. J4 is the pick, I think.
Jarvan makes the most sense here. Continues that engage that we talked about, the team fight that we talked about as well, and works well with the Orianna and the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, J4 also can pressure a Jace in lane if you have the jungle pressure. Unable to realistically if you don't have jungle pressure, but the gank potential on a Jace is strong with J4 and the Rek'Sai combo. Also, J4 is such a good follow-up for Orianna and using the Jhin ultimate. Really good way to make sure you get a categorically fantastic position for the Orianna Shockwave. Really good to follow up on Jhin ultimate on the tower. Lots of ways for, again, Schalke to just force the issue, which is something that I've really liked from the way that they've played.
These comps are essentially the same thing that we saw from last game, right? Schalke has gone full commit to the team fight, And PSG is able to run at 1-4 with the sort of split-pushing Sartorius. Last game didn't go so well because essentially Schalke had a perfect comp to deal with it. In this scenario, though, they do have Engage, but Zach is far more aggressive when it comes to engaging than a Rek'Sai can ever be.
What I actually like from PSG this time around is if they can actually steady the early game, when you get to a situation where you're starting to push towers, you've got a Talia, you've got a Jace, you've got an Ashe, all of which can consistently pressure the enemy under their own turret and, you know, eventually grind them out, and then potentially if you allow them a free siege on the tower that you're trying to sort of siege up on. So there is always that potential for them to sort of move into that area, and they've got very consistent and reliable wave clear. Talia pretty good at doing that. Ashe can sort of throw out a volley or two when necessary, and the shockwave, the shock blast and the acceleration gate obviously make a great tool to clearing those caster minions in the back line. So again, a lot of ways to turtle here for PSG, and again the strategy will then evolve as to whether they want to use this 1-4 or they try and go for a straight up poke game, which they could do here. You know, poke is traditionally weak against hard engage, but you do have the Gragas ultimate. You do have a little bit of disengage from the Talia as well, and the Ashe can do a little bit too. So if you can try and win the poke war, like just literally do as much damage before a teamfight even starts, might find an opportunity for PSG to get some work done. Yeah,
and that is the way that Jace, if he is going to look to try and 5-man stack into them, is that's how he opens up. You know, he walks down, uses the gate, I don't know what the acceleration gate, and then passes Q through it, and exactly, a big boom. So I think that's how Sartorius would stack up if he goes as a 5-man, but they want to keep him split pushing once again, this time getting him hard snowballing onto the Jarvan and then try and push it through, and that is most likely where we're going to see the jungle pressure coming out as well.
Jungle pressure top, says Frozen Dawn early on. Are the junglers going to change their paths at all? Is it just going to be a pure hit level 3 go top? Or at the moment we actually see them both at the top side of the map, not going towards the Razor Beaks for Kairi just quite yet.
So Memento has to respect Blanc's push in the early levels. Talia's Q is an incredible pushing tool early game, even into Orianna. Orianna from about level 4 onwards can look to try and snowball it, well, push it into this matchup as well, but early on she is going to get shoved in. That is completely expected. As a result, though, Blanc on Talia is able to roam in, try and get vision of the Rek'Sai, things like this, and it's going to be whether or not Kirei can play off the vision that Blanc can get for him in when it comes to pressuring top. We
have seen strong Talia play from Blanc in the past, specifically last season. He was very good on it. Have to see if he's able to impact the map that much this time. Actually looks like Kairi is going to start at his Razor Beaks, and Memento instead starting straight at red with a little bit of a hand from Smithy J.
Alright, so not the usual Rek'Sai start. Even if you're going for like sort of cheesy top lane gank, Wraiths is typically a strong start because you get a little bit more XP and you can try and stack. Obviously Rek'Sai could do the red buff straight into a top gank or something kind of crazy like that. She'll have the red buff for it, but Rek'Sai is not the kind of champion you want to be doing that with because you do need all of 3 of your abilities essentially to be able to execute a successful gank.
Nardius and Clyde did help out at the red there, gave the super buff start to Kairi, means that he will be able to just go up towards the top side and look for that top lane pressure early on. Try and help out Sartorius in the lane. Almost worked for them last game. Sartorius almost got first blood, but wasn't quite able to totally capitalize.
Yeah, we're just going to see the Sartorius shoving in Smitty J. Once again, to be expected. And this is kind of a jungler's dream, really, when both mid and top push in early. It gives you a lot of control over the early few levels that the junglers have to contest camps for. We do see Gragas going in, trying to take the Scuttle Crab to secure himself some vision. Keep him at full HP as well.
Speaking of push there, like you said, Blanc can push in mid quite quickly. Already at level 2, he was roaming down, getting a control ward, getting a vision ward down near that Scuttle Crab at the bottom side of the map to make sure they could see where Memento was. Memento will be spotted out. Kairi, I think, just got caught by the Tremor Sense there as well.
So both junglers aware of each other. Memento opting to go back to try and go and steal his bottom side, well, take his bottom side jungle, look to get a little bit of an XP advantage. Kirei instead, and just have to be happy with his top side, but actually in bottom lane, quite a big trade coming out.
Yeah, Deadly Flow used onto Clyde, but the Unbreakable does stop some of the damage coming out from the Jhin.
We saw triple pings coming out from Rek'Sai. The 3 separate location Gragas could be, one on Wolves, one on Gromp, and then one looking to sort of pressure into the top side. Memento just doing a good job to track the enemy jungler there, make sure his team is fully aware. They could be ganked from the top side of the map, but considering the current position of both Orianna and Jarvan, it's unlikely that Gragas would look for a dive this early on.
Yeah, Jarvan, not the easiest to dive. If you can get him to use his EQ somehow, then it becomes a lot easier to dive. But
yeah, well, he has a shield as well, so there's a little bit extra health you have to push through. This early on, teams just champions are so squishy that you don't want to be looking to execute those. There's a few champions that maybe can, like Repel on Elise is a very useful tool, but you take those risks.
As well, with his mobility can sometimes do it, but Gragas a little bit tougher. You want to be using your body slam in, so it makes it a little bit harder for you to actually get out of the fight afterwards or reset that turret aggro. Once again, a slowish early game from these two teams, kind of to be expected. We actually see Blanc backing at the 4-minute mark, gets himself a Dark Seal and some boots alongside a control ward to try and keep tracks on Memento.
Yeah, this is important that Memento tunneled through the Dragon Wall, getting deep vision into Kirei's bot side jungle, but Kirei is nowhere near there. Instead, he's going to try and lane gank top lane.
So how much does this actually give Memento? Like, can he be looking for a bot lane gank? Can they be going for that full-on aggression?
It depends entirely on how Kirei's gank top lane goes. If Kirei's gank top lane is successful, then Memento hasn't actually gained any momentum on him. However, if Memento takes the Krug, then recalls, and can take his entire his own topside jungle, then he's going to be a couple of camps ahead of Kirei, and that means things like he's going to hit 6 first, for example, so his level 6 gank is going to be more powerful. Things like that. 20
CS lead for Memento. Now you have to remember the Krugs give you a huge amount of CS, so just taking those does actually inflate that creep score, and that's what Memento's done. Twice, I believe, he's taken his Krugs, which is giving him this large CS differential, and he is going to get his full topside jungle as well. So a small experience and gold gain there for Memento over Kirei.
Kirei, though, is instead trying to pressure out of these Wraiths. He is aware that it's going on. Both these junglers having a duel, and Kirei actually putting out a lot of damage.
The barrel was positioned, and Kirei actually steals it away. Flash away from Memento. And that's what we want to see from Kirei. Some early aggression, pushing Memento back, stopping him from being able to get those flash unburrow engages.
Yeah, and Kirei now going to steal the Krugs back from the Rex side. Essentially just traded Krugs across the map. There is still a deep ward in for Memento in that bottom side, so he's going to be happy about that. But burning his flash early on Rex side is not what you want. You kind of need that flash unburrow as your primary engage tool until you hit 6. Blanc with a huge ult top end.
J, that's not where you want to be at all. Does have the flash, but the Unraveled Earth comes out. Blanc pushed up mid lane, roamed up. It's what we said we wanted to see from them, and PSG get first blood.
This is the power of Talia. If your team is playing well around it, knows how to utilize it, you just get these free ganks. Essentially, Sartorius just calling down, hey, you know, top's ultable, dude, and then he comes straight in.
Does he do it that casually?
There it is, yeah.
Hey, dude, we're in the 1970s, top's ultable.
Dude.
We're hippies, got some tie-dye. Dude, do you wanna, where's my car?
Some players in comms are that chill, by the way.
You found my car?
Some players just like, we could go top, or we could go mid, or we could, they just talk really like...
That would really frustrate me. I want someone to be like, let's do this.
The thing is, I don't know why, like some players, when you talk to them about these sort of things, it's just because they are kind of thinking about it, or they're trying to basically mind map so much that they just talk everything that's like, we could go here, or we could go here, or, and then the team just sort of talks with them about it. Very often in the early game,
logic it out, work it out
discussion. Absolutely.
Bot lane's been relatively even between these two, double door and shield, so neither of them really taking too much pressure in the lane. Nardius will actually be 1 CS ahead as this wave pushes into him. If he gets them all, if he misses one, nope, doesn't do it. Good job CSing Nardius when it's pushed towards you.
I expect that level of CS ability.
Hey, to get 3 out of 3 is better than PSG have done in any of their games thus far. Currently sitting at 0 out of 7. Perhaps 0 out of 8. And there's a unwanted record on the horizon for Paris Saint-Germain. Since the Challenger Series entered a league format in 2015, no team has gone without a win throughout the entirety of the league. The closest we have had is only 1 win for ex-Nielo in the 2015 summer season, but even they were able to eke out a win against G2. Paris Saint-Germain looking down the barrel of a Guinness World Record not to be proud of.
Absolutely not. You definitely don't want that kind of streak on you. Especially as a football club competing against the other football club, you know, and they are going to be competing not only for pride, but also it gives a sort of big mark to other sports teams, you know, who to mess with, who not to mess with.
At the moment, you can mess with PSG. I'm sure me and some of my buddies could mess with PSG the way that they have been destroyed by a lot of these teams, looking a lot stronger in the early game here. About 1,000 gold ahead as Memento comes in to help clear this one out. Kirei was there, waiting perhaps for the counter gank.
Both junglers just mirroring each other almost across their movement for the, you know, the first 9 minutes of this game, really. And the only successful gank came out of mid lane instead of the junglers. So
Sartorius is going to be jumped on here. Doesn't have flash. Tries to jump back with the to the skies. Gets knocked to the skies. Norskeren with the play. Back Sartorius is going to fall, and Schalke will get their first kill of the game.
And the first successful gank that a jungler has done. What a time to be alive. Comes in at 9 minutes. The Mentor who picked that up is going to help him keep tempo onto Kirei, but Kirei can look to try and pressure the bot side of the map as well.
It's speed of rotation though, because Norskeren had already come up towards that top side, and they're going to have upset there. The question is, do you bring Blanc down as well to try and take this bot lane tower if you're Paris Saint-Germain, or do you just say we're going to try and 3v4 it?
I think you can see that you're going to lose the top tower first just because there's too many people there to be already auto-attacking the tower, and Rek'Sai does more damage to towers than the Gragas will. Instead, you want to keep the Talia mid to keep the pressure on the Orianna, keep her shoved into the lane, or keeping her shoved under tower, and then from there, Blanc can try and create some pressure across the map. Both teams could possibly be opting to continue their push, in fact. It'd be very rare to see that, though, because realistically, you aren't going to be able to take the tier 2 tower. It's on full health. It's also harder to kill than the tier 1 tower anyway. And by then, you don't have the items, because even though you've got the gold, you haven't been able to spend it. So,
Client Blanc instead deciding they want to take away that blue. They do secure it. Memento unable to steal a blue, because there's no blue here to steal for him. Instead, has to satisfy himself with a wolf.
It's the little things. Taking those small cabs. It's also about vision. Both junglers now having vision in the other junglers' blue sides of the map. Both being able to play fine into their red side, though. That's where they're going to be able to farm themselves back up and look to continue the pressure they're doing. Because the Dragon is Cloud Drake, most pressure we're going to see is around the top side of the map as the teams compete for pressure over the Rift Herald.
Yeah, something you don't too commonly see is keeping the AD carrying support up towards that top side after that first tower does fall. Usually you want to bring them back around, but for the time being, they don't. Did see a red ping come out there. I actually think, yes, they got a ward behind where Nardius and Cly were. So there's a ward just in that side bush there that they were pinging and saying, Smitty J, you can teleport here if Nardius and Cly overextend in this lane. But instead, they've decided to come towards mid and to make it a lot safer for them.
Well, they see the Jhin and Thresh in the top lane, but they're pushing currently without pressure. It's not like that wave's going to crash into a tower anytime soon. Allows PSG to stack up, try and chip away at this tower. But at the moment, it's just creating pressure. And this is what happens when teams talk about pressure. This is what it means. Your AD carry and support walk towards the mid lane. Orianna has to back off. She might lose some farm. You might get a few auto attacks into the tower. You then go back to your lane, push that lane out. You just keep the ebb and flow of the game, essentially, until someone makes a mistake. Well,
Kadra used Shockwave, and that may have been a mistake as Blanc tries to get a threaded volley to connect. Had to use Ghost as well. Kadra still has the heal. Takes a couple of rocky spears to the face. Sartorius now going to take a lot of damage as Smitty J tries to close in. Memento with the flash unburrow. Here comes the Weaver's Wall, but it's not there in time to save the top laner from Paris Saint-Germain.
Both mids now without their ults, but it doesn't matter. Kadra's going to have to look to recall soon as he's very low HP and probably diveable by the power of Gragas.
By the power of Gragas. I have the power.
I have the power to dive. I mean, he does have the power to dive it, right?
Kadra does still have flash heal, though. Could try and escape. It will stay around for the time being as Memento is there as well. Interesting to see Schalke 04 put so much priority on getting Sartorius penned back. Like pinning him to the wall, saying, no, you're not allowed to move. Every time we'll just catch you out.
Well, it's because Jace provides something that other split pushers don't, which is if he does group with the team, he's actually useful. He can poke, which is his primary role, but then because he's a ranged damage dealer, he's going to be able to take towers very quickly. So shutting down Jace is very important for their composition. It also gives DJ this breathing room to be able to try and pressure across the map, look for team fights where they want them. And most likely, similar to the last game, we're going to see the primary number of team fights around the Baron area.
Yep, Cloud Drake, of course, something you can take off the cards just because you have the priority, but no team has actually been able to develop that yet. No team's been able to develop those deep wards that you really want to see. There was a time when Schalke 04 had a few, but they've now expired. And it's all about this river control for both of these squads. Explosive cast onto Memento, there's the shield. And no dice for Paris Saint-Germain. Once again, they will just retreat. Rift Herald is on the cards for them if they want it, but they still haven't got this top tower. And they just trying to eke their way forward towards it.
Well, PSG don't want to risk right now because Smitty J is the one that has the teleport, whereas Sartorius does not have his for another few minutes. This is the opportunity for Schalke to try and make a play. They have the engage options coming out from Upset's ult. Norskeren as well, with a flash available, can look to try and make some sort of flash hook happen, and you can call in a Smitty J TP and try and...
There they go.
Commit a team fight. This
comes
is it.
in. There's the arrow flashed away by Norskeven. Memento burrows in as well. The hook does not connect, but the knockup does. There's the kill. Nadia's dead. Smitty J going to jump on Clyde. Memento looking for the chase as well. There's the deadly flourish. Knocks him up. Glacial Fisher tries to get the knock airborne, but Memento dodges to the side. Stand beside me to a minion. But they're going to die, and you're going to die as well. Kyrie trying to get himself away. The hook connects. Cadril there, so low on mana, does get the Grievous Wounds onto Kyrie, who flashes the wall, and now it's all on blank. Deadly Flourish hits. Memento sinks in the claws from long range. Seismic Shove dodged out there, actually with the burrow in. And Blanc will be the only one to survive this. Norskeven misses the hook. Blanc with the flash. The heal comes out. Upset. Deadly Flourish to the face. Blanc trying to get away. Will get himself to the plume.
Wow.
And dies with a flourish.
What a chase. But in the end, it's Schalke who comes away with all the kills there. They aren't able to take any objectives off it, but fantastic use of the Smitty J TP to call the flank, essentially. Upset being able to open up the curtain call as well is their primary engage tool when they're engaging from a long distance.
Momentum's picked up all these early kills and said, okay, Titanic Hydra first, let's go guys. Who needs boots? Who needs a jungle item? All I want is to be able to clear that jungle and get damage down.
But he has a 2-level advantage onto Kire, double the CS. Over, in fact, double CS. I know Krugs, blah, 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 but
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen 100 CS lead for a jungle.
Well,
I've never seen a Flame Horizon in the jungle role, I don't think, unless a Master Yi was playing or something. In a competitive game.
Back when the, I can't remember what it was called, but the attack speed max health item that used to require 30 stacks.
Oh,
and you used to see, I can't remember what it was called, Trail, no.
So it was Wriggles Lantern.
No, you know the one I'm talking about,
there
right?
was the other one, yeah, the attack speed one. It's not Blood Razor.
No.
Before Blood Razor,
But that item, the tanks playing into that would often have this.
As well, yeah, Shyvana.
Precisely right. So I think that would probably be the last time it was ever seen. I'm not sure we're quite going to see it now. Rek'Sai really shouldn't be focusing on farming instead.
Devourer? Was it Devourer?
Yeah, it was. That's the one.
Madrid's Blood Razor as well used to, when Warwick's run that, they used to get it. But anyway, yes, it was Devourer, and that is a Cadril devoured up by the ice that comes from Blanc's cold heart. Once again, the standout performer for his team. 2-1 with the Banshees in the mid lane looking for this tower. Paris Saint-Germain might get their second turret of the game.
They can literally keep trying to push with this momentum, not memento, he's the jungle, momentum as well, as Sartorius has grouped up, and we know that Sartorius as a Jace can look to pressure towers. This is precisely why Jace can be a threat.
Here
this could be the Schalke engage.
Sartorius there, that's another dead Thresh. Paris Saint-Germain do not want to go into the Guinness Book of World Records for the most losingest team in the Challenger Series. That's what they would call it as well.
Losingest.
The most losingest team in the Challenger Series. They would have to lose next week as well, but they are facing up against Wind and Rain, who have looked stronger than them across the course of the split.
Absolutely. This is a game they have to win. PSG just cannot afford to lose this. Schalke too as well. Perhaps one of the biggest games of the night, just because of how necessary it is for these teams to try and hold their place in standings. Essentially, PSG just desperately not wanting to be anywhere near the bottom. And
they have to win this. In fact, if they win this, they then have to win next week to get 5th spot. I don't actually know if they can even get 4th if they win this game. I don't think they can.
Oh.
I think the best they can do is 5th. I think Paris Saint-Germain are out of contention for playoffs with that first loss.
Oh.
That was an odd realization to have in the middle of a game.
I know, we're like 80 minutes I'm like, oh, that feels bad, man.
Still fighting for pride, still fighting for the possibility that they can come back next year and do it all again. We'll have to fight their way through Challenger Series
qualifiers. About doing it all over again. You know, when you're down, well, you're actually not that down. I mean, you're down in the series, but not in gold. Technically, you're up in gold.
At the moment, they've got those extra towers. Cage has been called out a couple of times by Blanc, or once by Blanc and harassed down as well. Blanc sitting very pretty with that haunting guys building up towards Leandries as well. Blanc, and we can see Smitty J's realizing this coming towards the mid lane route. Lands from Upset. There's the flay away. Memento looking for the back line onto Nardius. The TP is going to join the fray. There's the explosive cast. Nardius so low, but Memento can't quite get it. The ignite comes out. Memento. Void rushes to victory. He will fall to the rest of PSG as Blanc just runs straight past Schalke 04. Curtain call does open up. Cadril has the shockwave. If they can get it onto Smitty J, perhaps he'll go for the engage. The shockwave misses. Blanc jumped on though, and Smitty J will sink down at that final bang with the auto attack. Sartorius getting the chase off. Upset. The last man really standing here for Schalke 04. Sartorius will take him out. Actually, Smitty J doing work. And the other side of this fight gets himself a double. Top laner versus top laner. It's a full house, a triple for Sartorius, a double for Smitty J. And they will accept it and just walk away.
Both top laners doing complete work in that fight to try and carry their teams. Jace just sort of leaping into the back line there. He excels at taking out squishy targets. He does fall when he gets hard CC'd, but in a situation like that, he timed his engage perfectly. Leapt in when there was no CC left available.
And it's what we said, you know, Jace, the reason he is good as a split pusher is he also works in team fights. And when you get a triple kill, when you've got a Black Cleaver, you are definitely doing work in these team fights.
I feel like there's something painfully ironic about that. Like, his strength as a split pusher is that he doesn't have to just split push. But it is true, right?
Was this just Schalke overstaying, though? Because it felt a little bit greedy
yeah, well,
from
the
them.
shockwave popped there. Smitty J had no way of actually... I mean, he technically killed Blanc, but at that point, he's sort of gone too deep and isn't there to help his team. And both top laners just gunned down their respective opponents. Now, Jarvan, you can understand why Smitty J wants to make that play. You know, he wants to get ahead, he wants to try and lock the enemy team up so his team can escape. They just did not account for Jace doing the exact same thing onto them.
Cadriel flashes the arrow, keeps himself safe. Nadia's actually going for the Essence Reaver build here, not needing to chunk through too many tanks. Although later on, Memento and Smitty J will get pretty beefy. Sartorius has gone for a Death's Dance of his own. It looks like Kai's going Knight's Vow second item, so he'll be trying to protect his AD carry, or probably his mid lane. He's the one doing all the work in these fights.
It's true. You know, people usually think that you have to shove it onto the like AD carry or something just because it's sort of the classic, but realistically you want to be shoving it onto one, whoever's taking the most damage in a fight, but two, who also needs doing even.
Yeah.
But no, it's both taking and doing.
Taking, that's what I'm saying. Doing is doing.
Yeah. So it's you know it's both essentially. The Talia is going to be closer in the team fight than the Ashe will realistically, and so maybe you want to keep the Talia safe. But it does also look like Braum could be building the exact same item. So we might see one on each carry. It works. We see it a lot.
Definitely works. Totally agree with you. 2,000 gold lead for Paris Saint-Germain, or about 1,300. Let's not be too generous to them yet. They are looking like they might have enough in the tank to take down Schalke 04. It would be apt for the football match to go to a 1-1 draw.
It would be highly appropriate. A penalty shootout where they have to just 1v1 each other?
No, it's just
in like straight up
It's a Mundo Baron fight. You have to whoever dies to cleavers wins.
Oh, the Darkstar Thresh game mode would be a lot better.
Yes.
5v5
Darkstar Thresh to see who wins this football match.
Right, get on it.
Paris Saint-Germain clearing out vision around the Baron pit. They do have control of the river for the time being. I think a lot of it comes down to who engages the next fight, really, and how they engage. If you can catch Nadius or Blanc out, that is the majority of the damage just gone from PSG, especially since Sartorius does not have TP and Smitty J does.
Absolutely right. PSG got to play pretty far back to avoid Smitty J being able to TP into them. They have to respect the engage range that Upset on this Jhin can put out for them. So they're going to have to be playing not necessarily under a tower per se, but it's going to have to be very defensive, make sure that no one's caught out so that the Jhin ult doesn't essentially come in and allow for the Memento and Smitty J collapse.
They do still have 2 tier 1s available as well. Schalke have been unable to knock down that outer ring of turrets, only taking the one in the top lane earlier on. And this game is probably going to extend just a little bit now. They're both teams looking for engages, struggling to find them. You feel as soon as the engage goes off, it's going to be cataclysmal. And the arrow misses.
Not in the case of that arrow.
Catastrophic, perhaps, for Nadius. As he misses another arrow down at the mid lane, just threads the needle between all of the Schalke members. They are going to get vision control around this Baron pit. Don't quite clear out the control ward. Smitty J is just going to back and have to deal with Sartorius in the split push rock.
I wonder if that Nadius arrow had in fact hit, where the PSG would have had the restraint to have not fully pulled the trigger. Especially as Sartorius doesn't have the TP available. Essentially all you're looking for at this point is just a pick that you can try and make a kill and then deny any teamfight pressure coming out of Schalke.
Something I want to see from PSG as well is a deep vision line. At the moment they have a very superficial line in the river around the Baron. You need a deep line to allow Sartorius actually to continue to push, because there he backs away when it's only Smitty J on that side of the map. He can fight Smitty J in a 1v1. You can see it here, like he can just harass him down. But he has to be so wary about the fact Memento could be on his way, about the fact Upset could be on his way. If you get a deeper line, even just a deeper line in the red side jungle, you can really track Memento a lot better, and it gives you better control over the Baron pits. And that looks to be what they're doing at the moment as Nardius steps up with Kyrie.
Absolutely, they've got to be so careful as they step up. Schalke have so many engage tools on their team, and Nardius gets hooked.
Lands onto Nardius. There's the box as well. Schalke Nullfear looking for the fight. The explosive cast comes out. Sartorius has teleported in. Smithy J there. The arrow hits. Sartorius jumps onto the 3 squishy members in the back, but immediately stunned up. Smithy J has to flash away. Blanc killed by Memento. Memento will eventually fall. It's 1-for-1 at the moment. Schalke are the ones who are low. Look at the shock blast. Look at the arrows coming out from Nardius. Can't quite connect with the last concussive blows, but they have their jungler alive. They've got their double AD carries in Sartorius and Nardius, and they have their eyes on the Baron.
And Kadal don't have his shockwave
up.
We've
seen a steal. We've seen a steal with a command attack today.
We have.
It could happen again.
He doesn't have shockwave, but it doesn't matter.
Turn and cool. Clyde gonna eat up a couple of shots. Kyrie eats up the second 2. Baron down to 3,000 HP. The deadly flourish. Kadal. Kyrie has the smite. Sartorius is low. Kadal gets jumped on. Kyrie's dead though. Upset there as well. The Baron eventually falls. Norscaron flashes into the pit. They're looking just to clean this one up, and Schalke might just win it out in the end. Who cares about the Baron, they say. We want the kills. 4 kills to Schalke Nullfear. A triple for upset. And PSG once again against Schalke. Full at Baron.
And they don't even have Blanc with the Baron buff. It's completely not worth. At least if you have one Baron buff, you can look to try and pressure and, you know, push down mid lane with the minions. But instead, no one. Schalke able to pick up this very valuable Cloud Drake as well. And what a huge win out there for Schalke. Upset's pressure with his ult was just so great, able to stall the fight out so very long. And Nardius not having the damage necessary to actually bring the Baron down to the health, well, essentially low enough health.
The last time these two teams faced off against each other, PSG had a massive lead. And then they went for a Baron against the Jace. And they lost the game off 1 shock blast hitting 3 people. This time, they're the ones with the Jace. However, somehow, the Baron once again proves to be their undoing. It's just not at all going well for Paris Saint-Germain. And even I'm just going to extend this. Firstly, replay, Paris Saint-Germain, they went through it. Norscaron flashing in actually makes a big play there with the flay. But even in that last time that they lost at Baron, Upset was playing Jhin and got a triple kill.
Wow.
So like, it's literally deja vu for PSG. It's like, how on earth is the exact same thing happening to us again?
Spooky, man.
That's spooky. And the mid laner for Schalke was playing Orianna.
Who was the...
It was Selfie.
Yes, of course.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. That
This is their kryptonite, this comp.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in an episode of Doctor Who. Anyway,
X-Files music gets played.
We do have a pause coming out. I'm sure we'll get this sorted in just a second. And we will be making sure we continue the final game of the day. Schalke Nullfear looking like they have a pretty strong advantage now. Although they're behind in gold, 14 kills to 9 up. A fed AD carry, a fed top laner, a fed jungler. Is there anything more Schalke could want?
Well, I mean, they could be more ahead in gold. Like, technically, they're still behind, right? That dragon could have been infernal. That would have been great.
That's true.
But you're right. Schalke, from the look of the stats, are looking fantastic. But somehow the goal just isn't there for them, and it's all in the amount of towers that PSG's been able to take.
I think you need to look at how well PSG have executed on taking global objectives when they've had the chance. I think they've really executed on their chances this time around in this game. And take a look at Sartorius on Jace. I think he's been a major impact for PSG this game. I actually think they've made this split push work out quite well for them. He's also been able to have impact in teamfights just the way you said, using those accelerated shock blasts to try and deal as much damage from afar as possible. The problem is when they actually get locked into a full-on 5v5, when Schalke can, essentially I like to talk about it like bringing them down into the dirt. When Schalke can bring these fights down into the dirt, Schalke win because they just sort of drag PSG in. They have the better sort of micro level decisions when it comes to team fight play and positioning. Whereas if you can keep it at range for PSG, they're probably quite happy to just spam those, threaded volleys, spam those shock blasts.
The thing is, PSG have 1,000 gold lead and they have 3 extra towers on Schalke. Like now Schalke with a Baron buff, that's like the 2 tier 1s are dead already. That's 2,000 gold gone. So that's 1,000 gold lead already for Schalke Nullfear. With Baron, you can probably push for the next tier, probably get 2 of those as well. That's another 2,000 gold. You're 4,000 gold ahead at the end of this Baron. You have a strong composition. I don't see I see PSG having played the early game well, But once again, I see a PSG that have made a mid-game mistake that's going to lose them the game.
Absolutely. And these towers are falling, just as you said. Blanc not able to pressure out Cajun. Actually, he is. I stand corrected.
Yeah, this is something you'll learn as a caster, Frozen Dawn. Never predict what's going to happen, because it won't happen. As soon as you predict it, it's like Schrodinger's cat. As soon as you, it's like waveforms, right? Light. As soon as you measure it, you've changed the result. It's like quantum physics.
Okay,
this
so
is
casting is quantum
casting
physics.
is like quantum physics, except slightly more complicated, in my opinion.
And you have to, you know.
I mean, you wouldn't understand. You're more touchy-feely sort of stuff with philosophy anyway, aren't you?
So sad. So
Smitty J setting up around the mid lane here. Paris Saint-Germain trying to counter out this Baron push. Sartorius is still up in the top side, so has got some strong potential to continue to try and take towers, but Memento has caught out Blanc, and Blanc's going to have to try and get his way away. Cadril not there. There's the Void Rush. Memento unable to get the kill, but is able to force Blanc out. And now, actually, this is interesting from Paris Saint-Germain, because they're going to try and retreat up towards the top side. A couple of shots from the Curtain Call do connect, but Paris Saint-Germain do not want an encore, as Sartorius is still going to get that top lane tower. I just realized as well.
Schalke didn't have the buff.
Schalke didn't get the Baron.
I was waiting a very long time.
did not get the Baron.
And I thought, no.
I don't know why I would say that. I just, because it was such a big fight, I thought they stole it. My apologies, everyone.
So everything that was just
said, it's gone to my brain. It's melted the few brain cells I had left. White matter and grey matter are just matter now to me.
Wow. Blimey, how science are we going?
Oh, we can go Corpus Callosum if you want.
I don't know what that means, so sure.
Nor do I. just made it up. So, the center point that connects the two hemispheres of the brain, and at the moment it feels like Schalke are just looking for that center point that connects the two sides of their composition. You've got the need to push into Sartorius up towards the top side. You've got Smitty J there, and then you have this frontline tanking Memento, but how does that combine well with Cadril and Upset on that backline? Can they make that middle portion of it work?
I think their composition certainly can, to be honest. You know, Upset has been doing a fantastic job of opening up with Curtain Call, using that to set his team up, specifically setting up Smitty J to be able to get a Cataclysm into the backline. And then from there, he's just been able to do classic Jhin things, you know, damaging from the backline with the sort of support that Norscaran and Cadril have been bringing. The only thing I am thinking is a bit lackluster coming out from Cadril is his shockwaves. Yeah. He's missed a couple. Well, the odd one or two hasn't actually been that impactful in teamfights. And we all know that Orianna's shockwave is one of the most impactful ults in the game. If Cadril's going to step it up. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. If it felt like a little bit of split decision-making there from Paris Saint-Germain, because they put the Talia wall in, and then they try and collapse onto Cadril, but they aren't quite able to make it. Memento's going to get the knock up here. Cadril's on his way. Clyde's going to have to flash. Memento flashes away. The hook onto Kyrie, looking for the kill perhaps here. He's going to flash away as well, but here comes the engage. The shockwave connects, and there's the Cataclysm as well. They're going to continue on to PSG. Two members will just have to jump away. Curtain Call opens up from Jhin. Cadril tanking up the shock blast to make sure Upset keeps himself alive. And they now can look for this tower. Deadly Flourish with the root. There's the hook as well, but that's a dead Thresh. Hook from beyond the grave. Something we'll see when the Urgot rework comes out. Fear beyond death. And at the moment, the fear for Paris Saint-Germain was that they go without a win throughout this Challenger Series split. Yeah, despite that, though, they are still being able to make these proactive plays, which is beautiful to see from PSG here. Upset, so aggressive. Just walks under the towers and AD carry. He knows he has the support from Norscaran, and these two players together have such great faith in each other to be able to do the other's role, essentially. Smitty J flashes in. There's the Void Rush as well. Memento with the kill. Very hard to dodge that, but the arrow comes back out. Back off cooldown as well. Cadril, Winter's Bite, Ignite. Is it enough? Not quite. Oh, the flash volley as well from Nadius. Can't get it. Cadril shields himself. And Schalke and Null Fear somehow limp their way away. Cadril. That was truly a moment from beyond the stars. Some sort of fortuitous alignment of the planet saved him there. You know, I was watching the Nadius Hawk shot to fly in, imagining it could do damage. I'm like, oh, Orianna's on 10 HP. One true damage. Yeah. One true damage. That's all it would take. Oh. Gold has now equalized. Schalke and Null Fear going from that 1,000 behind to now an even amount of gold. All right, so it's, I mean, most of the gold difference is going to come around in that mid lane. Yeah, 2,000 between the two of them. And in a sense, as Orianna, it's not too bad if you're behind in gold, because you're able to shockwave in a team fight, and it's going to be impactful enough. Essentially, if you are to land that multi-man shockwave on top of the Cataclysm, or on top of sort of a Thresh combo in the box, for example, that's just going to be detrimental and going to annihilate PSG, essentially. But From KJ so far, we haven't seen him able to do that. He has used his ult for a couple of kills. We just saw in the last team fight as well. He used it to execute Kirae, essentially, which is a perfectly fine use of his ulti. But if the fight continues to carry on, no one could really follow up because KJ doesn't have the ult, which is just so impactful.
Baron is up, Sartorius is splitting. Kirae going to try and step forward a little bit here. The teleport is available on the Jason. The Hawk Shot, of course, so powerful when you want to scope out a target. Norscaven trying to clear out vision. No control ward for him, however. Memento is sitting on one, so they can use that if they need to. They're going to start up this Baron. Long-range totem comes out, trying to bring Sartorius up. Look at the flank, though. Look at where Smitty J is. Lord of the Pit from Blanc puts down the wall, keeps Memento in there. Smitty J joins Blanc, caught up. Here comes the fight as Blanc dodges out the deadly flourish. Look at the damage on towards him. He goes down, but however, 2 kills for PSG as Sartorius continues to rip through their front line. Smitty J trying to get away, can't dodge the Hawk Shot. The curling core comes out, just about dodges that shock blast. As once again Upset tries to force Paris Saint-Germain away from that Baron.
I have no idea how Blanc lived for that long in that team fight, but it was incredible. He survived such a long amount of time that he was able to put tons of damage down onto Memento and Smitty J, and as a result, Memento then died.
Smitty's going to TP here. Going to join this one up. Cadril almost has a shockwave back available. Upset there. No summoners on him. Smitty J and Cadril going to force PSG back for the time being. Nadius keeps the Baron aggroed. Kirae steps forward, trying to continue with that Baron push. Smitty J gonna jump in. Has he got the Cataclysm? Not quite yet, but he has got assistance from Upset. The Unbreakable from Cly blocks them up into the arrow as well. Upset not able to get a kill on the back line, and we saw Smitty J fall as well.
That looks so dodgy from PSG there. It almost looked like they weren't willing to commit to the fight, but the thing is, Baron resets if it doesn't get auto-attacked for about 4 or 5 seconds, and so that's exactly what PSG was doing, just keeping that pressure, because if he keeps taking damage, then the Baron won't regen and shall continue to have to force PSG, knowing the limit of that team fight very well, to be able to keep the Baron engaged, thus keeping Schalke engaged as well.
A second Cloud on the Summoner's Rift as well, which means no one wants to fight for those dragons. Schalke got the first. The second, well out of contention for Dragon of the Split. I'm not sure who I would give Dragon of the Split. It's probably going to be one of the Elders. Also just made up a new award that we are going to give out. Sartorius teleporting in here to join the fight as PSG look for their second Baron of the game. First didn't go too well for them. We've seen them make some shot calling decisions around these before. Smitty J not there. The arrow misses. Memento comes in, but it's still at 2,000 HP. The shockwave gets it! And Memento gets out. Paris Saint-Germain, they've blown a 4-1 lead in the past, and now they seem to be blowing every opportunity they have at securing that Baron.
That team fight was 5v4. Smitty J was nowhere to be seen. He respawned as Baron was half HP without TP. And once again, Orianna with stealing a Baron. What is this? Cadril just finally, there we go. He had his moment this game.
That's his big play of the game.
He's done it.
Once again, and Orianna steals the Baron. I think that was with the shock blast. I think as well Smite came out. Blanc gonna try and put the Weaver's wall down. Catches out Norscaven, the jump in from Sartorius, knocks him back. Cly there. This is gonna be a dead Thresh. Has been the sacrificial lamb for his team time and time again. Schalke, even on gold with Paris Saint-Germain. They do have a Baron buff in their back pocket, but Paris Saint-Germain are the ones on the front foot.
Yeah, they just want to try and force in here to deny as much of the time S04 have with their Baron. You can keep pushing the waves in, try and look to force while they're resetting. Just gives you a little bit more time to not be being sieged yourself, but they are going to have to deal with these waves.
Knock back, the stun lands the wombo combo. Smitty J jumps in. That was superbly played by Paris Saint-Germain. The arrow came out before the knockback. Smitty J now trying to escape, will escape for the time being. The knockback again from Blanc. No mana on him though. PSG instead going for that inhibitor in the mid. Sartorius and the rest of the Paris Saint-Germain lineup will eventually crack the base of Schalke 04, and Cly will tank up those curtain call shots.
This is such a brawl. PSG not without the Baron buff, sieging into Schalke, who had the Baron buff, able to take an inhibitor.
I think Paris Saint-Germain have worked out how to play around Baron late game.
Baron,
you throw
and then
it,
charge at them.
and then you charge. Yeah, they need
sideways,
Kled.
though.
That's what they need. They need Kled. Someone we haven't seen that much this tournament. Actually very strong in 7-13 as well. Hopefully we'll see Kled next week or so. Now, Schalke do still have the Baron on 3 members. They can push down mid. Jin, of course, with that 4th shot can take down towers relatively quickly.
Schalke really needed to send someone bot lane or top lane before the waves get killed, but it looks like they aren't going to be able to get there in time. And Blanc's going to be able to shove out this bot lane and perhaps just send himself top as well. Try and deny the sort of pressure that Baron can put out. You know, this is almost a perfect opportunity. If you have Baron and you have both side lanes that are huge waves pushing in, that is a fantastic moment to be looking to take towers because you have so much pressure on the map. But instead,
we're back into
PSG are there sort of a few seconds early, essentially, and able to push out the waves, pretty much denying Schalke's Baron steal at this point. Not to mention, of course, the inhibitor they stole afterwards, but like excluding that, Schalke hasn't really done anything with the Baron.
Sartorius has had a great game as well, you have to say, on this Jace. 8-4-4, Death Dance, Black Cleaver, Last Whisper upgraded to a Mortal Reminder. Oh no, Giant Slayer, sorry. Lord Dominic's, that's what it's called. The Guardian Angel and the Engage coming out from Smitty J. There's the Cataclysm, the Glacial Fisher, knock up. Nardius will flash the wall to get himself away. Norscaron misses the play. Here's Memento with the chase. Void Rush across. Upset, unstoppable on this Jhin. 619. Looking to make it 7, but not quite able to capitalize. Sartorius there. There is the Weaver's Wall to block off the minion wave. Smitty J is going to come in from behind it. Now realize, oh wait, there aren't any minions here. I'm going to have to tank it myself.
Team.
Eventually.
Where's my team?
Team,
exactly.
Please, can you not jump walls? What is this?
And Jhin just flashes it like, yeah! Could you imagine?
That would be an upset play. Now, mid lane inhibitor is the target. Sartorius still splitting. No TP on him. He can't join this. If Schalke make one more pick, they might just go for the game, but instead, they retreat. A war of attrition here, Frozen Dawn. The gold perfectly even. 40 minutes in, and Schalke Null Fear looking for their second win of the Challenger Series.
This game is so much more even than the game before that Schalke pretty much dominated, other than that minor Baron throw issue, which they won't talk about.
I don't think it's an issue anymore. I think it's just expected.
It's true. Whenever there's a Baron.
Only Giants are a team where I look at it and say that's going to be their Baron. They have a 100% Baron rate, never lost a Baron. I trust in the Giants.
It's quite a crazy stat to have.
Across the Challenger Series.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they have also just won every single game. It's a lot easier to take a Baron when you're ahead.
Or, in this game, take a Baron against all odds.
When you're losing the fight, that's when you take the Baron.
What's the win condition before behind?
Oh, Arrow does still hit onto Kadril. The stun jumped out, the explosive cast. That's a dead Orianna. And Norscaron's going to get caught up as well. Smitty J is in the flank here. He gets the Cataclysm onto Blank. That's a dead Talio's. Memento gets a double knock-up. Nardius just about dodges the hook. Memento jumping in with the Void Rush. Can they get the Ash? Yes, they can. And now the rest of PSG are going to fall as well. It looked so good for them, but they only get one. And Schalke instead take 4 and are looking for the game.
Smitty J here really needs to just hold a wave. I guess there's already a super minion in this one, so he has to recall and try and shove it out. Schalke, though, being able to win this fight, despite Nardius actually with some impressive kiting, considering that Kadril died instantly, with Shockwave still available. Schalke, very impressive to be able to win this fight. I think it comes down to upset and the strength he currently has for his team. 8-1-11, all resources being put into keeping him alive.
Is this just the game? You've got Smitty J, you've got Upset, you've got Memento, a lot of AD threat there. They're looking for that first Nexus Tower. Sartorius was unable to hold the wave. 10 seconds left on Paris Saint-Germain, and Schalke 04 are going to make it 2-0. Paris Saint-Germain lose it in extra time. Schalke 04 blow the final whistle on Paris Saint-Germain's Challenger Series campaign.
And they were so close. I mean, there were so many moments where